So I got a business question for you, and I'm going to start off with you, and we can go any direction you want to go. As a business guy, when you run a company and you're managing risk and where resources go, things happen, and your team will come up to you. Let me tell you what just happened with compliance, da-da-da-da-da. Here's what we're facing. These guys could take $30 million of business away from us. If we do this, the risk here is $30,000. If we do this here, okay. So whatever's the biggest risk, that's the biggest damage to the company, you give the most resources, lawyers, research forensics to go investigate it, right? That's business. I'm thinking from a business lens. But for me, the part out of everything that we got on 9/11 Commission, and there's a lot of them, Monica Lewinsky, okay, when you look at what happened in January 17, 1998, January 26 is when he said, I did have relations with Monica Lewinsky. They spent $30 million to investigate this incident that happened, the 3-year relationship between Monica Lewinsky and the President Clinton at the time. Nobody died. No one was physically hurt. Matter of fact, people probably got healthier because of the 3 years or whatever happened, but it's not like somebody got hurt because of it. $30 million there. 9/11 happens. 2,977 people die. That leads to a war that taxpayers spend roughly $8 trillion, war on terror, due to 9/11. Outside of the 2,977 that died, there's another 4,500 people that died due to effects of it afterwards. And this is documented. We can read it everywhere. So for Monica Lewinsky, we spend $30 million. For 9/11, the biggest event that cost the most American lives ever, more than Pearl Harbor, because that's 2403, 2,977. Why do we only spend $15 million to investigate that and spend $30 million for Lewinsky and nobody died here? Why do you think that is?
Well, after serving in Congress for 20 years and representing all the firefighters at the same time, I can tell you the reason. It's because the deep state was heavily involved in the 9/11 cover-up. And the deep state didn't want the information out about the truth. The deep state's experts at creating the spin that they accuse other people of doing. And the deep state, when 9/11 happened, diverted all of our attention to Al-Qaeda, to the need to send our troops overseas. I took that very seriously. Then I found out that bin Laden wasn't even in Afghanistan. That's another topic we can talk about. But the deep state controlled the spin. The media played right into the deep state. Now, let me tell you, 5 years ago, I had a private meeting with Seymour Hersh. You know who Seymour Hersh is? The #1 investigative reporter in the country. Dennis Kucinich, a liberal Democrat, asked me to meet with him. Seymour Hersh said to me, Congressman, you have one hell of a story. I said, you have no permission to publish anything right now after what they did to my family. He said, okay, let's meet 4 months from now. We met 4 months later. And he said, I have verified every fact and detail you told me. Brennan and Clapper wanted you not to assume the role of chairman of the Armed Services Committee. They went to Mueller and asked Mueller to do a favor and disrupt your election. It was all about keeping me from becoming chairman to have unlimited subpoena power to ask the questions that you're going to ask today, to give the American people the answers to what happened, what do we know before 9/11, what happened at 9/11, and what do we do with bin Laden after 9/11. This whole thing, in answer to your risk management question, was controlled by the deep state.
Who was the deep state in 01?
I can't push to any one person, but I would tell you that Brennan and Clapper were in the middle of all of this as the leaders of the agency.
He was in the middle of all of this.
Well, I can't. Again, I only talk about what I can take a polygraph and take a lie detector test over. All I can tell you is what I was told is by Seymour Hersh that Brennan and Clapper did not want me to assume the chairmanship. Both parties, my party, Republican, and 3 weeks before my election, they ordered a raid on my daughter's house, and listen carefully, they raided my daughter's house and never talked to my daughter. Never, ever, no one, ever. They carried boxes out of her home with TV cameras from across the country there. FBI agents sent from D.C. This is long before Donald Trump. Donald Trump wasn't even around in 2006. They raided my daughter's house, carried boxes out, never talked to her, ever. No one. And the same day they did that, they raided a lawyer's house right near my home. The lawyer at the time was working FBI counterintelligence against Russia that I had arranged 2 years earlier. When the agents from D.C. arrived in his office, the counterintel agents were already sitting in his office. So he had 2 sets of office and his agents in his office at the same time. And when they found out from D.C., the first question was, well, Mr. Gallagher, aren't you related to Congressman Curt Weldon? And Gallagher started laughing at them because my wife's maiden name is Gallagher. They had been given bad information, and I know who gave them the bad information. There's no relationship. They apologized to Gallagher. But they did want a file he had, and I'm going to tell you what that file contains. It contains information about our top spy in the Russian Far East named Douglas Kent. John Gallagher took the case because a 20-year-old Russian child named Alexander Koshin was broadsided by a drunken State Department employee in Vladivostok. That kid became a quadriplegic, but he had relatives in Philadelphia. They contacted John Gallagher, asked him to take the case. He took it pro bono. No money involved. I helped him. John has a file 6 inches thick. That's what they wanted, because when that person, that senior State Department official who was our top CIA agent in the Russian Far East, Douglas Kent, when he was hired by the CIA, he was the vice chairman of the American Nazi Party. And there are photographs of him in uniform, in a Nazi uniform, when he was hired by the CIA. That's what they wanted. Had nothing to do with me. But they ruined my daughter's life and career to stop me from becoming chairman. And in 2000, both Donald Rumsfeld and the number 2 leader in the Defense Department, Deputy Secretary of Defense John Hamre, wrote one-page letters endorsing me to become chairman of the Armed Services Committee. And 3 months after they ruined my election, George H.W. Bush, the former head of the CIA, did a public tribute to me, which I sent to your staff. You can play it on your show. In front of 2,000 people in Washington. George H.W. Bush, the former head of the CIA, said, Congressman Weldon, you're the kind of leader that America needs. A leader that leaves America stronger.
He's saying this.
You have the tape.
This is in 2005?
No, this is in 2007.
2007.
3 months after I did my election, my career. After his son, the son, who had no clue, the people around him were running this show, not George Bush. I'm convinced of that. It was the people around Bush.
So indirectly, from listening to you, I don't hear that you're saying George W. Bush was part of deep state.
I don't think he knew about it. I don't have the highest respect for him. He's not the brightest star in the sky, but I don't think he did it. I think it was a combination of Cheney, Rumsfeld, Rice, Rove, that group of people, and the intelligence agencies.
That group of people.
What Cy Hirsch told me, he said they could never raid the vice chairman of both the Defense Committee and the Homeland Security Committee, which I was,
right,
3 weeks prior to an election, unless the White House approved it. 3 weeks prior to my election, the White House approved the Department of Justice raiding my daughter's house, and they never talked to her. And then 3 months later, George H.W. Bush does the tribute in front of 2,000 leaders in Washington. And I would just encourage you, Patrick, to play that for your viewers, to listen to what George H.W. Bush says about my career and the legacy that I left for the country.
Rob, do we have that clip?
I will grab it.
So was that is that on YouTube? Is that something I can?
Yeah,
be
they
found?
tried to take it down. 5 years ago, they tried to take it down. I got active. Now it's all over the place. There are thousands of hits. They can get it all over. It's George H.W. Bush sitting in a chair. And he's never done this before for any other member that I know of, giving a public tribute to me.
I have it, Rob. I'll send it to you. He's sitting in a chair. It's not a...
It's in front of 2,000 leaders in Washington, including members of the House and the Senate.
Okay, go for it, Rob. Is this the one you're talking about?
Good evening to all of you.
This one?
In 1989, I had the honor of addressing this audience at the first annual National Fire and Emergency Services Dinner. I can recall looking out at the audience and seeing over 2,000 fire service leaders. It was an impressive sight, to say the least. And now, as President of the United States, I naturally assumed that the audience was there to hear me speak. But the following year, you packed the ballroom again, as you've done year after year. Why? Not so much to hear from presidents or vice presidents, but to hear from your leader of the past 20 years, Curt Weldon. You often heard Curt speak of the fire service as the sleeping giant. When I was president, if it appeared that I wasn't giving proper attention to your issues, I could always be assured of a phone call from Curt. I am sure the other presidents would all say the same. To his credit, the fire service was never a partisan issue. It was a personal issue. based on his own experience as a volunteer firefighter. He's the reason why both ends of Pennsylvania Avenue have heard the fire service's voice and answered so many of your calls. He's the reason why you, the Fire and Emergency Services, was awakened 20 years ago and has become such a political force in our nation's capital. It's the goal of every political leader who is blessed with the opportunity to serve the public to leave behind a legacy that in some way makes our nation stronger, better, and safer. Curt, you've done just that through your dedication and your commitment to our nation's 1 million first.
This is some would say he was the deep state. A lot of people would say he's deep state, director of CIA, former director of CIA, and becomes president, VP, a lot of things that he's done. So for him to say that, he's saying that in 2007.
Yes, 3 months after they ended my career. Hi, I'm Curt Weldon, teacher, firefighter, father of 5, family man, who spent 20 years in the Congress after serving as mayor and county chairman of my county in suburban Philadelphia. My intent is to give experiences and information and knowledge about the 104 countries that I led delegations to during my 20 years in the Congress, and all of the work that I did on behalf of America's firefighters and first responders traveling around the country. If you'd like to connect with me, connect on Minect, and I will get back to you.
Hi, I'm retired Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaffer. I'm a senior intelligence officer / retired spy with a great deal of information regarding my 30-plus years of operational experience, plus 9/11 issues relating to able danger. I wrote a book, Operation Dark Heart, New York Times bestseller. I'm the National Security Advisor to the Trump 2020 campaign. I'm an elected official in North Carolina as a county commissioner. So reach out to me via Minect. If you have questions, I'm happy to try to give you answers that will help you. Look forward to talking to you.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.